Welcome back to Cabral's House Call. We are going to answer 3 of your questions today. So remember, if you have a question, just hashtag Cabral's House Call on social media. We will find it, or email us at support@stephencabral.com. Let us know what your questions are. It could be answered right here every day on Cabral's House Call. So today's first question is... So the first question was, how do I get started? So this is obviously one of the most popular questions. You're trying to get into a new wellness routine, or really overcome anything like Hashimoto's or Lyme disease, or like, how do you just get started, or weight loss? That's obviously a big one. I think the real trouble comes from how do I get started is because you've been kind of stuck in a rut for so long. It's like, how do you dig your way out of that? That's the bigger thing, because I think we know what we have to do to get started, because there is a starting point, meaning like, if you want to lose weight, you're going to obviously change your nutrition. You're going to change a little bit of your exercise. You're going to change a little bit of your lifestyle. So the bigger component comes from what's going to motivate you to get started. So I think that's going to be a little bit different for each person, and I would find out your big why. That's why I always ask that. So let's go back to, let's talk about rheumatoid arthritis, just an autoimmune based disease. It's basically crippling a lot of people, youths as well, but all the way into 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. It's debilitating. You can lose use of your hands, a lot of your joints. It's inflammatory, and you're just living with pain. So how do you motivate yourself? Well, sometimes the pain itself can be a big motivator, that you no longer want to live in pain, and that you basically get fed up with it, and that's your starting point. So my starting point is always, I want to change something, so I look towards books. That's just kind of something I do. And so what I do is I will order 2 or 3 or 4 books on a particular topic. You might not be as insane as me and read that many books on a topic, but you can at least start with one book that's highly rated on overcoming autoimmune disease naturally. Because again, you want this to be a long-term fix. There's a lot of short-term fixes, but you want a long-term fix. The other thing is, you can obviously go online. The issue with online is there's just so much back and forth of who's right and who's wrong. Go with a program that you have a book written, a protocol written, and then let that be your starting point. I also like to start on a Monday, or start fresh at the beginning of a month. It's kind of like, okay, you're leaving that older life behind, those older lifestyles or those patterns, and you're moving into a new you, a new fresh you. And I would start to create some type of goal for yourself, with that goal being realistic, saying that, you know what, I might not necessarily just totally remove all the pain I have from my joints, but at least I'm going to get better so that I can play with my kids, or I can enjoy more of my time in retirement. Whatever it might be, you have to start thinking about that now, and I would find out your personal motivator. So it is a hard question to answer to what's going to get you started, but I can tell you how to start, and that's to start with a proven program and a proven protocol. We have a lot of all of these wellness-based issues, and certainly all of your weight loss-based issues. I pretty much covered all of those specific topics, so at least look at what I talk about as a starting point for your specific dis-ease and what you can do to start to move forward true health. Because here's the bigger thing, and I think actually this would be a great motivator for you, is that everyone or anyone who, whatever position you're in right now, there's been someone in that same position before, and they've overcome what you've overcome. That was a huge motivator for myself when I wasn't feeling well, and it can be a huge motivator for you. No matter what you have, someone's had it as well, and they've overcome it. That means you can as well. You really can. I truly believe that. You might not get it right your first time, or a second time, or a third time, but if you don't give up, you're going to get it right. All right. Hopefully that answered it. Next question. Yeah. So what do I do to motivate myself? So this is a nice question, I guess, as an adjunct to the first question. So again, everybody's motivated in a little bit different of a way. And I think I'm motivated now differently than I was 10 years ago. So I have 2 little kids now. I have to balance family life with work life, with a lot of other things in my life. And so I have to start to prioritize, because I can't do everything, right? I mean, so I work a lot, but I spend a lot of time with my family as well. I make sure that I'm home every night to hopefully have dinner with my family. I also give my daughters a bath, all those things that I prioritize. But what motivates me now is, well, there's a couple things. One is I only take on new projects that I feel are going to give me meaning in my life. So they're going to add something to my life, because the truth is that we all have a limited amount of time. That's kind of our non-renewable resource. And I feel like there's not a lot of time left in my day that I can put extra stuff into. So I have to start to decide what's going to motivate me the most. So if I'm starting a new exercise plan, if I'm starting a new nutrition plan, whatever it is, it's going to take the place of something else. And so there has to be a bigger reason why. So I tend to motivate myself and do a new lifestyle plan every 12 weeks or so, kind of like once a quarter, just to refresh myself. In the summertime, I might be training for a sprint triathlon, which I think are fun. In the fall, maybe I get more into heavier weightlifting. It could be just different things that are motivating me, but I can tell you the main thing that motivates me right now in my life is making sure I accomplish things that I would regret not doing in my life. So I don't know if that sounds deep or not, but basically what I'm looking at is not a lot of people, I think, my age at least, or somewhere in their 30s, think of it this way. But you have to keep in mind that in my late teens, I became very, very sick. And I wasn't actually sure if I would ever get better or not, since it took me years to get better. So I have a very different outlook, I think, and perspective on life. And hopefully I can start to share that with you, so that no matter what age you're at, you can start to really take advantage of your life now, rather than saying, I'll do that when I'm older, I'll do that when I'm older. Because you don't know how much time you'll have left. You don't know your best years, of whether they're now or whether you'll have great years in your 50s, 60s, 70s. So what I say is, I don't know what life's going to hold in front of me, so I want to make sure I don't have any regrets. And if I can start to do a lot of the things that I know I would regret not doing, if I can do them now and start to set up a plan to do that over the next year or so, that's what motivates me, and hopefully that makes sense. All right, so the last question on our Motivation Monday is how to motivate yourself even when you get down. All right, so let's use a real life, real world example right now. So we get this question a lot, and so maybe we got this a half a dozen times to a dozen times over the last week, and the bigger perspective is that you think that you're alone by falling off the wagon or getting down or whatever it might be. You're not. It happens to everyone. It happens to myself as well. We're not perfect. Things come up in your life that throw you off track. And again, once you understand that you're not alone in this, then you realize, like, okay, everybody gets overwhelmed. Everyone gets off track because of holidays, peer pressure, being out with friends, not eating the right foods, not getting enough sleep. Like, say one of my kids is teething and they're up like 5 times or 6 times during the night. I'm not going to be able to get my best sleep that night. I still have to perform the next day, right? I need to be at my best. And so what I do is I now realize that I'm not going to be perfect, and I'm not always going to be able to stay on track. And again, this was only like a revelation to me over the last couple of years. Before that, I would beat myself up about it. I would realize that I got off track, and that would really demotivate me and sometimes just really derail me. So now what I say is, I'm never going to be perfect, and unfortunately neither are you, and that's okay, because what that means is, yes, you're going to get off track, but it's how quickly do you get yourself back on track that matters the most. A lot of people let a cheat meal Friday night just flow into the whole weekend, and now it's a cheat weekend. That really throws off your goals. But if, let's just say you go out Friday night, you know you shouldn't be having the dessert or whatever it might be, and you have it because all your friends are there and it's what you want to do. Okay, so you get thrown off that Friday night. Don't let it snowball into Saturday. You just say, okay, that was my cheat meal for the week. I'm good. I'm going to get back on track. I can still go out with my friends. I can still have a good time, but I can also eat healthy at the same time and enjoy their company, which doesn't have to go along with all of these other foods. So I hope that's important as well, and that makes sense to you. My big thing is, when a new client comes to me, I look for 21 days of really diving in. And after that, I build the whole lifestyle into that, because I'm expecting you to have a cheat meal once a week. I'm expecting you not to be perfect every day of the week. So in the beginning, I really asked for that deep dive in, that perfection. Then after that, I understand that life's going to get in the way. You just have to make sure you're good 90% of the time. 9 out of 10 meals, you're good. One meal is not going to throw you off in the long run and in the long perspective of things. So I think once you realize you're not perfect, you're never going to be perfect, and as long as you don't let yourself slide way off course, you get right back on track, you're going to be good to go. That's new perspective. It took a while for me to have that sink into my own life, but I know that if you just stick with that same mindset, mindset, you're going to be good to go as well. I hope you enjoyed today's Cabral's House Call, and we'll be back real soon with more of your questions answered. Have a great day.